Hi everyone! Happy Star Wars Day! So, in honor of May the 4th, I'm going to show you how to make some delicious drinks inspired by the dark side and share a little galactic history. The two drinks we're going to be making today are a dark Jagger and a Palpatine punch inspired by the two most iconic characters from the dark side, Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine. To understand the infamous Darth Vader, you first must understand the dark, evil, and powerful life and supposed death of his mentor, Darth Sidious. His abilities to control, manipulate, and use the Force truly make him the most influential and powerful person on the dark side in all of the Star Wars saga. So Darth Sidious is a Sith Lord living a double life, first as a senator of Naboo, then the Supreme Chancellor, and eventually the Emperor of the Galactic Empire, giving him the name Emperor Palpatine, so they're the same person. However, for most of his evil career, nobody actually knew it was him, so he's kind of like the Hannah Montana of Star Wars. Like all Sith Lords, he does have a mentor named Plagueis, who ends up killing, but that does give him the title Dark Lord of the Sith, which is such a badass name. Over the course of the saga, he has 3 apprentices, and the first is Darth Maul, who hands down is the coolest looking character in Star Wars. I mean, just look at him. So this is a time when Palpatine is the senator of Naboo, but he wants to go up in the ranks, gain a little power. So he gets schemy, and he decides to vote for higher trade taxes, knowing it's going to force the Trade Federation to invade Naboo, which they do, and it results in the current Supreme Chancellor getting kicked out, and they're like, oh my gosh, Palpatine, it's so sad, your planet got invaded, even though it was secretly his fault, and they give him the role, so he gets all the power he wants. So during all of this, his entire planet is invaded, and then because of it, his first apprentice, Darth Maul, dies, but he couldn't be happier because he got to cause a lot of chaos, and he got his little promotion. So Palpatine obviously doesn't care about death, and he's pretty much like, next, and then he gets a new apprentice, Count Dooku, which is such a cute name, who was previously a Jedi Master, but then, Palpatine's so good at manipulating him, he turns him into Darth Tyrannus. So Mr. Tyrannus also likes to dabble in politics, and he's the head of state of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Such a long name. They're basically just separatists. This is so perfect for Palpatine because he controls the Republic by being the Supreme Chancellor, and on the other side, he mentors Tyrannus, who controls the Confederacy, so basically Palpatine's controlling both sides and nobody knows. So Palpatine's sitting all pretty in the middle, even though there's so much tension on both sides, which starts the Clone Wars. So basically what happens is Palpatine's like, oh no, they're attacking us, give me more power to protect you. And then Tyrannus dies. I know, so shocking, another apprentice dead. The Confederacy goes right down the drain as planned, and then the protection that Palpatine provides is basically clones that he gives to the Republic that are programmed to kill Jedi leaders. It's wild, but so iconic. So 2 apprentices down, and of course Palpatine wants his replacement to do all of his dirty work. Can you guess who it is? Of course, the one and only Darth Vader, but before we dive into his story and more nerdy history, I think we should make the first drink in his honor. The first dark side drink is called the Darth Jagger, so of course you're going to need some Jägermeister, and cherry schnapps, Sprite, and dark cherry syrup. So this drink is inspired by his all-black armor and his dark and evil aura, as well as his red lightsaber. I'm not a bartender by any means, so there's not going to be any really good technique in this video, just good drinks. So this drink is a little tricky to make, but definitely very fun. So you're going to want to grab a small glass and a shot glass. And to put in the shot glass, we're going to grab 1 ounce of Jägermeister and half an ounce of the dark cherry syrup. Okay, here comes the tricky part, and I lied earlier, you actually need 2 small glasses and not 1. So you're going to flip the first one over and put the shot on top. If I can do this in 1 try, then I will consider myself a professional. So put this glass over top here, and we're going to flip it upside down. Hold it really tight. Let's hope I don't mess this up and spill this all over myself. I'm so scared. Not bad. Wow. First try. Now we're going to be adding the Sprite to the cup, just enough to cover the top of the shot glass. Perfect. And then 1 ounce of the cherry schnapps. This is almost filled to the brim, but it looks so cool because it has that cone-shaped shot like Darth Vader's helmet. I'm gonna attempt to pull it out and hopefully it doesn't overflow. That's awesome. Although Star Wars doesn't appear to be one for most people, it's actually a very sweet love story. So before he became Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker was just a man deeply in love with his wife and a father-to-be, but he was so afraid of his wife falling ill that he was willing to do anything to save her. So of course, knowing this and knowing what an incredibly powerful Jedi Anakin is, Palpatine slithers in and happens to mention that he has this Sith power that prevents people from dying. So Anakin goes from this amazing hero in the Clone Wars that warned people of Palpatine's evil to Darth Vader like that. So now they're all buddy-buddy and they want to end off the Clone Wars with a bang. So Palpatine uses his programmed clones to wipe out a whole bunch of Jedis and then sends Vader to wipe out the rest at the Jedi Temple. This doesn't go over very well for Darth Vader. He just gets beat up, pretty much presumed dead and completely disfigured. But fun fact, this event is actually what led to him wearing his iconic helmet and mechanical lungs. On the other hand, Palpatine is just jumping for joy. The Jedi Order is pretty much annihilated, and he decides to create the Galactic Empire and elect himself as the Emperor, so it's another promotion in the bag for him, and he gets to rule with fear and terror. I think Emperor Palpatine is so iconic for being such a master manipulator, but it didn't work out every time for him. He made this little like, look at me, I'm so strong and powerful attempt by ordering Starkiller, I know, such a cool name, who was Darth Vader's apprentice, to gather all of the most influential traitors in the galaxy to create a rebellion against him just so he could kill them. But it blew up in his face. I mean, literally, it blew up. Obviously, the first Death Star is gone. However, Darth Vader knows that there's little rebel spies running around in his office, so he makes sure that everybody knows that they're in the process of building a second one, which looks intentionally unfinished and unusable. However, it's fully functional. This is his way of luring in the rebels because he knows that they're going to want to destroy it. His ulterior motive to this is that he knows that Luke Skywalker is going to come for a little father-son bonding time. I believe Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader fought each other a total of 9 times, which is a lot. However, I think their last fight was the most meaningful and just one of the most beautiful scenes in all of Star Wars. And no, this is not the I am your father scene. Palpatine desperately wanted them to come face to face so that Luke would turn to the dark side and replace Vader. And although Luke was willing to fight Vader, he was not willing to kill him, which really pissed off Palpatine, and he kind of threw his old motives aside and decided to fully attack Luke with Force Lightning, which is an extremely powerful ability only available to Sith Lords. And then, how about let's make our next dark side drink before I tell you the rest? We're going to be making Palpatine's Punch, which is inspired by his electric blue Force Lightning. For this drink, we're going to be using tequila, and then I picked out this blue raspberry sparkling pop. However, I highly recommend using Blue Mountain Dew. I just couldn't find it. And then a little bit of lemon juice, sour cherry syrup, and then some edible glitter, which is optional, but it adds that really cool lightning effect, so I just picked out blue and white. Start with a tall glass of ice, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the glitter. And now 2 ounces of tequila. And then I'm going to fill the rest of it with the blue pop. The glitter looks so cool. just like his lightning. And then I'm going to top it off with a little bit of the syrup, just about half an ounce. Perfect. Okay, let's find out what happens to Luke. So Palpatine is blasting him with Force lightning, and what happens next is so shocking. Many people believe this was done by the good inside of Anakin Skywalker and not by Darth Vader because the force of the dark side is so strong. Anakin picks up Palpatine, absorbing so much of that Force lightning, and throws him down the shaft of the Death Star, saving his son, but unfortunately dying in his arms a few moments later. Star Wars really is a love story because after living a life under manipulation and evil, Anakin is able to die saving his son that he loves. Even if I sound nerdy saying this, I will admit that Star Wars does make me emotional. There's just so much more to it than galactic space and war. And although there is more to the story overall, today I just wanted to focus on what I believe are the two most iconic and influential characters in the dark side of Star Wars. Thank you so much for joining me for Dark Side Drinks and a little bit of Star Wars history. To see more of my content and to get to know each other better, make sure to click the link and subscribe to my OnlyFans. May the Force be with you.